Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Tomorrow's Arts. Today we're trying to figure out perspective so that we can draw this beautiful street in Old Town Kyiv in Ukraine. That's the horizon line. That's very important in perspective, to know where your horizon line is, to go ahead and judge, is it center, is it below center, above center? I was reaching back into the recesses of my memory. You'll always have perpendicular lines. I'm drawing buildings, which is really out of my comfort zone. It's been a long time since I drew anything architectural, which is I've cut out a lot of struggle. There was a lot of struggle. I left some of it in here, so this is not a vanishing point. Later we'll point that out. This is actually just where the street ends in the photograph reference that I was using. I was using several actually from the internet, so I just pulled up Google search and there's this beautiful section of Kyiv, Ukraine, that has just these gorgeous colored buildings and really caught my eye. I've been watching the news like probably many people, and got interested in these places that they were talking about on the news, and this video is dedicated to the people of Ukraine. I hope that they stay safe and prevail. This isn't a political video, so that's all I'm going to say about it, but my heart goes out to them. So yeah, all the lines that you draw in perspective need to have some form of structural integrity, and later on I'll show you where I forgot it. It's a good learning point. I left all my mistakes in here, including the ones that I just lived with. This wasn't supposed to be a very precise drawing. I am by no means an architect of any kind. So here I was attempting to there's like 2 rows of bricks, and I was really trying to figure out how those lines would work. There's a second vanishing point for this right hand side, and the only way that you would know that is by just looking at the lines and seeing what the reference is trying to tell you. Is there a place where that point ends somewhere else other than the 1 or 2 vanishing points that you might already be using? If you guys want me to, I can go into depth in this a little bit better at a later date and actually just talk about perspective in a video, but I just kind of wanted to outline my struggles because they entertain me. Struggling entertains me. So anyway, yeah, it's fun. I finally figured out how the bricks were supposed to be going, the face of the bricks, how those lines are supposed to be going. And the way you know is you draw it and then you look at it. Does it look right or does it look wonky? And I could tell, see right there? Those were totally wonky. These were not correct at all. So I just erased them and started again until it looked a lot like the picture. And then I was like, okay, yeah, that's probably where the perspective was going. A lot of people are, other artists are probably a lot more specific about it. They can get very technical. Obviously, you can do technical architectural drawings. I am not that kind of artist. I like organic lines, animals, plants, people, soft curves and such. But you use perspective all the time. And so it's actually kind of nice to sharpen that skill again, even though it really drove me quite crazy several times during this drawing. My poor husband had to hear about it. So the main vanishing point is going to be off to the right. If you were to draw your own cityscape or something of that nature, and your vanishing point looks better way off to the side, you can actually still make a vanishing point that you use your ruler to draw towards. You can see the 3 lines at the left hand side of the screen. That bottom line doesn't go to any vanishing point at all. So it's absolutely incorrect. You would lay a longer ruler and actually have a piece of paper under your drawing and draw your horizon line and put your vanishing point as a point on that line. And you can line up your ruler to it, even though it's way off the page of your drawing. So there's lots of tips and tricks for getting perspective right. I really wanted this to feel like it was just plunked down in a sketchbook. I did not want it to feel like a very precise architectural drawing. And for all of you people out there who are very architecturally minded, my father included, I'm just sorry if this bothers you that the perspective is off often. I do remember how to do perspective. I just don't do it precisely. It's just not my style. But like I said, if we need a video on that, just please let me know in the comments below, because I will totally look up stuff and remind myself how to explain perspective better. But oftentimes when I do use it a little bit here and there in my natural drawing, which this is not natural. Do you see this car? This is not a natural drawing for me. I still don't know where this car is from. I don't know. It doesn't look like the car in the picture. My son said it looks like a wooden car carved out of wood. I'm pretty sure Ukrainians use actual cars. Yeah, so just not a technical person. Here's where I was really starting to lose it. And I'm like, hey, maybe that's, maybe I've got something here. Like Picasso's stuff was way out of perspective whack. So, although the leaning lines to the left of the page, they're all perpendicular. It's the camera angle kind of gives it a fisheye on the left-hand side. So it's not quite as bad as it looks. But, because those lines are really leaning to the left. I have to say, editing this video and looking it over, I was like, oh my goodness. This is really something. It was really hard. I'm like, don't pick yourself apart. This was a sketchbook drawing. It's meant to be quick, and I did it in an afternoon, a long afternoon, but I did it in one afternoon. And if I was really trying to capture a specific cityscape, I would have taken a lot longer and a lot more care. And a lot more precision. And some of the buildings, like, they weren't all lined up like our city blocks here. Sometimes they're like all lined up. Some of the pieces, yeah, that's when I come back. I took a break. I had to have a break. So I was like, this is falling apart. Came back and used my eraser a lot. This is sped up, by the way, about 7 or 8 times the normal speed, in case you were wondering. This took me a long time to draw out. I enjoyed it. I'm really happy with it in my sketchbook. It looks really good, when you're flipping through, and then there's this really nice, colorful, different from my other stuff sketch in there. So it's nice. I'm glad I did it. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I was happy the whole time I was drawing it, because I wasn't. But sometimes things are difficult and you do them anyway and stretch yourself as an artist, and you learn so much more than you knew before, and that's okay. You gotta stretch, you gotta try new things. This isn't new, this is an old thing for me. Like I said, I've drawn buildings before. It's just been forever. Apparently I don't love doing it, so I don't do it often. But perspective is such a great tool to use in anything. You use it for drawing pretty much everything. It's how you learn how to foreshorten, and how things get smaller as they get farther away from you. That's all perspective. So that's some sign, a street sign off to the left. Don't know what it means. I'm sure somebody does, but it's not. I don't know what it means. Yeah, I needed that break. This is looking a little bit better. These buildings were beautiful. They were very eclectic and interesting. It is called the Old Town, and I don't know how old it is compared to the rest of Kyiv. But look at those tiny people. There's rows of cars. Can I just tell y'all, there was a lot of cars in a lot of these pictures, and some of them were in the road, and I'm like, I'm not going to draw another car. Yeah, I'm not going to do another car. I did the one, there's cars. I did the lumpy bumpies with wheels on them going off in the distance. There's enough information for you to know those are cars. No, I won't be drawing technical, realistic cars in the future. I will not be doing that. I promise. So when I start to ink this in, I use my ruler a little bit on the right hand side, but you can tell I'm not using it very often. I like the idea that it looks like I was sitting on a street and just drawing this. Of course, there's a lot more straight lines than that. But the wonkiness of it, the way things touch that shouldn't be touching, I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me. It's not that kind of drawing, like I said. So, some of the ledges, they touch on the right-hand side. It's just me drawing quickly. Those ledges right there around those windows I just drew in look like they're just tipping off the face of the earth there. So there's a lot of inaccuracies. Not everything is inaccurate, but there are a lot of inaccuracies in here. Enjoy the inking in process. So here I bring back the ruler. While I was enjoying the freedom of making wonky lines, I did want the side, all those vertical lines on the side to be straight and make some sense. Just a little bit more sense than wonkiness. I do freehand some stuff still. Sometimes it's good to give yourself permission to not be tight and anal retentive with your drawing, sometimes it's good to relax. Even though here I relaxed a little too much and messed up those darker bricks because they're all going off into no man's land. Do you see how they're all angled up? And when you actually look at the perspective, that's not how they should be. Here I am doing these brick faces correctly. As you go below the vanishing point, things are going to go in one direction, and as you get above not the vanishing point, the horizon line, things go in another direction. So, and then these are the sides. You're looking at all the sides, and they're all going to be pretty much straight on. That's just how it looked in the photo. There's the horizon line, and you can see while I'm trying to erase ink, because I'm a brilliant person, you can see the horizon line is there, and you can see how those lines change when they go over. And that does go off to a second vanishing point to the left somewhere. I eyeballed it, but again, if you ever wanted to draw it, you could always put tracing paper over your drawing and draw a vanishing point where you would want it, and then draw your lines accordingly. There's lots of tricks on how to keep your perspective straight if you are so inclined to try to do a very technical drawing. There are very easy tricks to do to keep it all in line. I tend to eyeball it when I'm in my sketchbook. It's a very free-form type of situation. I recently did draw a banister, painted it actually, and that I had a T-square, and I marked it off with painter's tape and painted it black, but I had all those lines marked out very precisely because I didn't want the banister to be the thing that drew your eye. There were other things that were more important. And especially I didn't want you to look at the banister for all the wrong reasons because it wasn't correct. So there's a time and place for being technical. So here I'm finally adding the watercolor, and this was so much fun because it was like I was coloring my own coloring book page and I really enjoyed it. Kind of paid attention to the reference, kind of did my own thing. It was a mixture. I didn't have to follow it quite as closely unless I was running out of an idea of what color or where to put a shadow or something of that nature. So I figured if I put the gray down, that's the shade or shading, and then when I put the color on, which in this case was yellows, so you could still see the gray, and it worked out really well. These buildings were all different colors, and they were just so beautiful. The colors reminded me a little bit of Seaside in Florida. They were the same kind of strong pastels or very light pastels, and all different. Never lived in a community like that, but I really enjoy seeing them and driving by them when I can. Enjoy the coloring. So you can see how I've made the right hand side, it was a lot warmer in tones than the left hand side. That brings that corner actually closer to you as opposed to the coolness and the cool blues of the roofs in the distance. Cool tones give you distance, and then warmer tones bring things a little bit closer. So here I was messing up a cobblestone street. I was like, how do I get the idea of cobblestone, the erratic pattern of cobblestone quickly? And I've drawn cobblestone very nicely in the past, but it took me a long time and I just wasn't up to it. So I made a pattern and washed over it, and then the pattern receded and it just looks like a texture, which I like. It's fine with me. A little bit of a wash of a sky. The sky was almost completely white in most of the photographs. Tried to paint the people. It was very difficult. They were very wee people. And a little bit lighter tone on the face of the bricks. Yeah, just finishing up some of the shading and bringing in some of the colors to bring them around a little bit better. I came in with my smaller Micron pen here. I was thinking about kind of going over a lot of things with it. And I end up just kind of doing a little something here, and that's about it. And I was like, I kind of like the bold lines. They go with the bold colors. And I was pretty happy with the result. It's what I wanted. I wanted something kind of simple. It has a lot of detail and line work, but it is in its way simple. So came back with a gel pen and kind of went over some places where the inking got out of control or the watercolor went in the wrong place, perhaps. I really enjoyed these windows right there on the yellow. I thought that was kind of fun. Went in and put the little details in anywhere I thought that they needed to be put in. And signed it. And that's it. From one corner to the other, a little bit closer view. I really enjoyed this drawing. This is a beautiful street. All of the pictures I pulled up of Kyiv, Ukraine, were beautiful. It seems like it's a gorgeous city, and it's been sad to see the destruction that's been happening there to the town and the people. So again, my heart goes out to them, and I hope everyone is safe. And thank you for watching. Bye.